Good afternoon, folks. I'm Jimmy Ratliff with Dynamic Independence, and I'm here with our Executive Director, Carl Haws, and we're kind of going to do a recap of the year. Is that right?
That's what we're going to do.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the mission for our center. What do you believe is our mission?
Our mission, Dynamic Independence, is made to empower people to accomplish their independence. We want to be able to give people the tools that they need to be able to live on their own or live with the supports that they need and be able to do what they want to do.
Excellent, excellent. So to enable to let these people who have a disability be able to accomplish those goals and to kind of live independently, let's talk a little bit about some of the core services that we offer.
Okay, some of the core services, advocacy, one of them.
Okay.
We like to advocate for people, what they need to do, and for if they're in a tough spot, we can step in and actually talk with them to find out what they need and then advocate for them as far as who they're trying to get their stuff done for.
Okay.
We want, our main goal is to teach them to advocate for themselves. If we can do that, if we can work our way out of a job, that's what I want to do. What's the next thing? The independent living skills training?
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. Well, they're all my favorites because I really believe in what we do here. What we're talking about, independent living skills. If you have somebody that's graduating high school and they haven't had the chance to really learn how to do a checkbook or how to dress for an interview or even how to speak at an interview, we can teach people that. We can actually take them to the grocery stores, teach them how to go shopping. We can teach them how to cook a meal from the food that they bought at the grocery store. So we want to teach just everyday living skills. And that's, I think, is really important for some people to know.
Well, I know that a lot of times when people think about independent living, you go, well, I've got maybe a job, I've got a place to live, and that's it. And a lot of times people don't realize that there's more to it, the everyday things, and sometimes people may not have been prepared for those types of things, and that's where we come in.
And a good example is that we work with a lot of kids that are coming from the DHS services, that they've been in foster care most of their life, and they didn't learn the skills that they need to support themselves or to how to take care of every day-to-day business. And that's what we want to be able to teach them.
All right. Well, let's talk then a little bit about information and referral services that we offer here also.
We have what we call INRs.
Okay.
And that just stands plainly for information and referrals. Somebody calls us and they need to get some paperwork done or be able to apply for disability or anything like that, and we can teach them how to do that, or we can pick up the phone with them sitting next to us and call them and advocate for them at the same time, but also refer them to that place so they can get what they need to get.
So kind of help get a foot in the door for these places a lot of the time.
Absolutely. Get their foot in the door, and then we can kind of step back and we can advocate for them at one end of it, but on the other end, hopefully they can take it and do what they need to for themselves.
Excellent. What other services do we have?
Peer support is another one that we do a lot of. I am a person with a disability. I have a prosthetic leg. And for some reason here the last few months, we've been getting several people coming into our office with brand new amputations. And peer support for me at that point is I sit down and I take my leg off, I show it to them, and we just talk about what happened to them. They can tell me their stories, and I can learn from them as much as they can learn from me. And it's just having a conversation with somebody and helping them support each other. And we support each other in the conversations.
Someone who is maybe new to that amputation right there, they don't know what to expect.
Right, they have no clue. They don't even know what a prosthetic leg looks like.
Right, let alone how it works. And
yeah,
so
exactly.
You're able to fill that in and then also learn from their experiences.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So talk a little bit now about transition services.
Transition services are very important because we like to help people that are stuck in nursing homes that can live out in the community on their own, that they just don't know how. They don't have the the services they need, and we can hook them up with the services and help them move from a nursing home into maybe an assisted living and then into their own apartment. And we're going to help them transition from one port to the other. Another important transition service that we like to work on is kids graduating high school. Some of them know exactly what they want to do. They want to go to college, they want to get their degree in this or that or the other, and then they want to go on with their lives. But some kids, they graduate from high school and they're saying, well, I really don't think school's the right thing for me. So we can actually hook them up with maybe a vocation job.
Sure.
And plug them into that and help them transition from high school to real life is what I like to call it.
Right.
Because in high school, you do whatever you're told.
Right.
But in real life, you have to make your own decisions.
All right. Tell me a little bit, because we haven't really talked about this a lot, and you specialize in this. Tell me about how we work with some of the kids, the smaller kids, like do IEPs and that type of thing.
Well, it's real important. And we need to really pay attention to IEPs nowadays, because kids will come to school and they may have a disability and they need a little extra. They may need some extra time reading an assignment. They need extra time maybe writing down answers. It doesn't come to them as fast as it does other kids. So we meet with the school and we write what we call an IEP. Individualized
education plan.
Thank you.
Sure.
that just kind of right out my head. But anyway, we're all human, and that happens to us. And the IEPs help those kids be successful and be able to graduate from one grade to the next. And we help them all the way, even into college. They have IEPs where if you need extra help, you can go and get what you need from the administration of the school, and we're right there with them the whole way. If they need us, that's great. If they learn from the very beginning and they don't need us, that's even better.
Right. But we're always here to offer any support that we can to help people live independently.
Absolutely.
All right. So what other types of outreach have we kind of implemented over the last year, or just in general, to where it's not just people coming into us? Because if you sit in an office and just wait for people to come to you, that may not be very many people. But if you're kind of out and about, you can get kind of tired sitting at your desk with nothing to do every day. But thanks to you, you have brought in what we call Facebook Live, and we do these live talking about the ADA. We have explained the ADA from one end to the other. We have also talked about dogs, service animals, and they have been very helpful to the large public. And we give bits of information, and we give as much as we can, but we always leave our name and our phone number and our address and everything they need to get a hold of us. So if they need more information about a particular subject, we're able to help them out in any way we can in that way. All right. So that's been one of the ways we've reached out to people, and I'm real excited about that. And another way, we do live presentations to different organizations like the Kiwanis or the Civitans or any other organization in the area that would reach out and ask us. We do a thing called disability etiquette. And basically all that is letting people know how to interact with somebody with a disability. Sometimes you meet somebody in a wheelchair and it's just kind of overwhelming. You don't know how to talk to them or how to interact with them. We'll teach that. And talking to somebody who is deaf, and they have an interpreter involved with it, you don't want to look at the interpreter and talk to them. You want to talk to the person who you want to talk to. So you just kind of leave the interpreter over there and you talk to the same person that you want to talk to, and it's more respectful. Sure. Let me ask you a little bit about this aspect of it, because I know that one thing that really surprised me, because I'd never been around like proper service animals before.
Right.
And one of the things that I've learned this year, and I think a lot of people don't realize, is that whenever you are around someone who has a service animal. That dog is working, it's doing a job.
Absolutely.
And we all want to go, can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog?
Oh, yeah.
And,
I'm the worst.
And to be able to say, okay, I'm going to address, just like you had said, the individual instead of trying to play with the dog or can I pet your dog? That dog is doing a service, and while that dog is working, they may be on heightened alert to sense whether somebody's having a medical condition or their blood pressure is getting too high or their blood sugar is getting too high or any number of different things that dog can alert to.
And when you pet that dog and you start playing with them, that takes them off task.
Makes them very distracted.
And they're distracted, like you said, from their job. So it's really important not just to run up and play with the dogs. You know, you could ask permission. One of our board members, Drew, he has a wonderful service animal. Her name is Gigi, and when they come in every time during a board meeting, I have to ask him, is it my turn to pet the dog yet?
Right.
Because she's a full-grown poodle or standard poodle, and she's just awesome. And I love animals, so
it's
good
difficult sometimes. But
it is difficult, but it's good to get permission from the handler before you take charge on yourself.
Excellent. So, kind of to wrap up this portion of it, so tell me a little bit about what we've been doing with Bartlesville Public Schools. I know Lisa's been very instrumental.
Elisa has done a really good job with taking on, we have a bunch of puppets who, every one of our puppets have a disability, and she has gone into the Bartlesville school system and helped with inclusion, teaching kids with disabilities and kids without disabilities how to interact with each other and be able to include one another for any kind of thing that they're doing. And she does that. She goes once a week and she meets with the kids and with the teachers and teaches inclusion. Last year she got the kids to use the puppets and do a puppet show for the rest of the kids, and that was a lot of fun. And the kids, I think, learned a lot from just having the puppets and knowing that everybody's different.
Yes. And it takes away a lot of the kind of maybe not stigma, but the fear that people have whenever sometimes, like you said, if you run into somebody with a wheelchair and you don't know quite how to react, and we talked about the disability etiquette, this helps bridge that gap and kind of open that up so that even the kids
especially at a young age they get used to it, and then when they get older and they run into somebody that has a disability,
it's somebody
it's not somebody, it's not just somebody with a disability, it's just somebody.
Right. People are not their disability.
Exactly.
They are people.
Exactly.
All right, so what kind of services or programs do you feel have kind of been the most impactful throughout this last year?
And which ones are you talking about?
So
give me a little hint. What you want.
I would say things like, do you think that like the durable medical equipment that we
absolutely. The durable medical equipment that we have a lending library, which we have wheelchairs, we have knee scooters, we have walkers, we have bedside commodes. We have a lot of different durable medical equipment that we can loan out for no charge.
Right.
For 2 months at a time. If somebody needs it longer than 2 months, all they got to do is call us and we'll extend it another 2 months. But this really helps. It kind of throws a lifeline to people who have just been in the hospital and they need a wheelchair for a short period, or they need a walker for a short period, or if they've been in the hospital for an extended stay and their whole life is turned upside down and they really don't know what equipment they need or how they're going to use it. They can come here, they can get the equipment from us, we can teach them how to use it, and they can borrow it. Like I said, again, no charge.
All right. And I think that, you talked about people being in extended stays. Another thing is, those independent living skills that we had talked about earlier. Sometimes people need more assistance when they even get back in their home, that we might be able to connect them with people that work with home health or somebody who can come in and assist them, especially older folks maybe.
Absolutely. That goes back to our referrals.
Right.
We can refer them to somebody that can come into their homes and help them out.
And we've done that on different occasions throughout this year, so I think that's wonderful. So if we want to look at kind of continuing to build on the successes that we've seen this year and the programs that we currently have in place, what do you think some of the key components might be for us to focus on as far as getting people involved with our program. I know that you've looked for some board. You're on the lookout for board members.
We have a really good board right now, and it's real exciting to have people involved in this. But I would like new board members to come aboard that have new ideas, because we can sit around and brainstorm, but we can never come up with all the new ideas that other people may have. So it's real important that we get new board members in with new ideas that want to step in and help us put those new ideas into work. That they don't just call us up and say, "Hey, why don't you try da 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 da?" We want them to come in with a good idea and then stay with us and help us put that new idea into practice.
I think a really important thing also talking about board members is because board members, 51% of the board and 51% of the employees, have to have some type of significant disability to be able to serve in that capacity. And so they really do understand more than, say, somebody who might not have a disability.
Right.
The programs and the types of services that would probably be needed.
I'm glad you brought that up, because it is a mandate that we have that 51% of our board have a disability. And right now, 100% of our board member has a disability, which is perfectly fine with me. But I don't want to exclude somebody that doesn't have a disability that has a good idea. Let them come on board, and we got room to have them there too. And same with our workforce. Our workforce is 51% of people with disabilities, and it just helps us to be able to understand the people that are coming into our office and be able to relate a little bit.
I have an invisible disability. You have a prosthetic, which is an invisible disability if someone just saw you around, because most of the time you're wearing the prosthetic. You're not using canes or walkers or crutches or anything like that. So a lot of times I think that while we have those disabilities, there are other people who have different disabilities, and being able to draw in from all these different people, say board members or other employees who have diverse disabilities, makes it all that much. It makes it easier on us to be able to provide a service, because we're getting it from different perspectives, still from the folks.
We used to do, we still do, what we call the service that would go out and do the workshop that we like to do. I used to do that with my wife.
Yes.
And she is in a wheelchair. She is a quadriplegic. And I had a hidden disability, so it was really easy to explain the difference between a invisible disability and somebody that has an obvious disability. Yes. And it's kind of like if I go to Walmart, I'll park in an accessible parking spot, and I'll get out, and I'm walking just fine and going into the store, and somebody, hey, you don't need that, get out of that. Yeah. It's nobody's business. If you got a placard, you can park there. But the reason I do is by the time I walk all the way through Walmart, by the end of my trip, I could barely make it back to my car. Right. I'm using the grocery cart to lean on to be able to walk the rest of the way.
Right. So let's talk now, kind of wrap up this interview. So tell me about how you feel about the disability community in general. Do they have a certain kind of resiliency that you don't see?
Absolutely. The disability community is a very resilient community. They have the power to be whatever they want to be. And sometimes they need a hand, sometimes they need a little nudge, sometimes they need a big push. But that's what we're here for. But they are very resilient. They can get past anything. Before I lost my leg, I would have never thought that I could live with only one leg. But that happened to me when I was 15 years old, and that's been a long time ago. And so I'm living proof that a disability, it can come and hit you in the face and slow you down a little bit, but you can always bounce back and get back to where you want to be. And I want to share that with other people that have brand new disabilities.
That's excellent. So, and I think we're doing that here.
Yes, I think
absolutely. So as we close out, do you want to say anything else to our consumers?
I just want to tell everybody, have a very Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy New Year. I'm glad that you're listening to this, and I hope you come by and see us.